I came out here to also show you, yep, the AC is running. All right, so now the big test, a dryer. It's running. Now, as you can see, we're pulling well over 6,000 watts. So welcome back, everybody. Today, we're gonna be upgrading our Ecoflow Delta Pro Ultra with the new Ecoflow Delta Pro Ultra X. You're not going to want to miss this episode. This is by far the most powerful portable power station I have ever seen. All right, so yes, that's correct. Ecoflow has done it again. Now they have come out with something even more robust and larger than the original Delta Pro Ultra. And while it may look similar to the previous model, it's majorly upgraded. So we're going to go over a lot of the specs in this episode, introduce you to it, and then we'll have some further tests coming up. Now, also in this episode, we're going to go ahead and test this out because this has a tremendous amount more output power than the previous model that you just seen me pull off. So we're going to try to run some central ACs, some dryers, something I've never really attempted in the past today, 240 volt well pumps, and this entire house. So let's quickly go over some specs and then let's install this in our pantry in here, right into the main house panel where we're already hooked up. Let's do some of those tests, and then I'm going to meet y'all back out at the shop because there's a whole host of new accessories that plugs into this extremely powerful inverter to do everything from running entire homes to EV charging, you name it. Everything has been upgraded, so I want to make sure I can walk you through all that. All right, for starters, here is the inverter. This is your top piece. And as we work down, you can see I am now stacked up with 5 individual batteries. By the way, according to the specs, you can now put up to 10 batteries for max capacity on a single inverter. So we could have a whole stack of an additional 5 batteries here. Each battery is around 6,144 watt hours. So in my current configuration, we're talking 30,000 watt hours of capacity. That is a tremendous amount. So you can build this system out however you want. It is worth noting, in order to get max capacity out of this new very powerful inverter, you need a minimum of 2 batteries. However, if you're okay with some reduction in output capacity, you can run on a single battery. So what's been upgraded? I mean, the display is very similar, some minor changes here, buttons are very similar, but the front has changed, and there is a big reason why. So for starters, we still get 2 120 volt 20 amp outlets. But if you're buying this, you're probably going ahead and powering up main panels. So they have also kept the 30 amp L1430 twist lock plug right here. This is by far your most common generator style plug. And here is the exciting upgrade. We now have a 50 amp output on one of these. So this is what's helping make this the most powerful portable power station that I've ever seen. So for those of you in the past that's been asking about, hey, can I run larger central ACs or electric water heaters, things such as that, this unit can actually do it. Actually, in their literature, they claim this can run a 5-ton central AC without soft start. I highly recommend, if you're going to use one of these on a big central AC like that, to add soft start. That just makes it easier on anything that you plug in to run that. But 12,000 watts of output makes this a serious contender for a whole home, really just system in general. We don't even have to use the term backup anymore. But it gets better than that. You can add up to 3 of these inverters to some of the hubs that they offer or their smart home panel. I'll be showing you that later in the video. So we could have 12,000 watts. You could add in a second one for 24,000 watts, or up to a third one for 36,000 watts. And don't forget, you can do up to 10 batteries per inverter, so you could do up to 30 batteries total if you want to build the most robust system you've ever seen, and that would be for 180,000 watt hours of capacity. All right, so if we come over to the side, you can see Ecoflow's really cleaned things up just like on the previous model. Stack as many batteries as you'd like, and then they come with these nice flat cables that it goes down to individual batteries. I should also mention this is 2 brand new batteries along with 3 of my original Delta Pro Ultra batteries. So if you decide to get the new inverter, you are going to have to update each battery individually and update the firmware on them. Don't connect them all together. So this is backwards compatible with the older batteries, although they're all still exactly the same. So if we take a look on the side, you can see we have a lot less ports right now. And that's because everything is now going to get cleaned up and go to the major input-output port. All right, so if you take a look over here on the side, I know it's kind of hard to see, you'll see dual solar input ports, but there's actually a box that we'll be using now. And that just seen another major upgrade, 10,000 watts of solar input. 5,000 watts per port, and I'm going to go out to the shop here in just a little bit and show you the new adapter that they have sent with this to handle all that power. Now we're getting into a system that can truly run a home 100% off grid. Not that the previous one couldn't, but we've got so much capacity here from solar input to output. This should be able to run most common size homes. All right, so as we come to my pantry, here's my main panel. If y'all watched some previous videos, I have already pre-wired a 50 amp generator inlet box in here just for this system. And I've been running a 30 amp adapter right here from 50 to 30 with a 30 amp cable, but I went ahead and put a 50 amp box in here a while back, along with larger size power wire to feed my main panel, because I knew at some point someone was going to be coming out with a 50 amp service portable power station. I had no idea it would be this quick, but Ecoflow's done it. All right, so welcome to the pantry. Sorry for the lighting. I've got it lit up as best I can in here. Definitely not set up for recording. So as you can see, I have this massive power station here hooked up, ready to go. Bought me a 50 amp generator cord. We definitely need something heavy duty to run potentially 12,000 watts of power out this output right here. We're plugged in. We have AC power turned on. By the way, there's my solar input. I have a 3,600 watt solar array outside, but it's actually plumbed in and running my shop off grid, because believe it or not, my shop uses more power than my house. So that's where the savings is going. But in the event of an emergency, we've shown this before, a whole house several day run on the previous system to this. I'll link that video below, by the way. But I can actually take the big solar array that's outside, wire it right into here, and plug it into the unit itself. That's something we will do next hurricane outage. All right, just turn those super bright lights off. So we're powered up, ready to go. I'm gonna go right in my main panel here, throw off whole house power, and then we're going to swap over to this unit, and we're going to go run some extremely high demand items like, say, central AC, a dryer, 240 volt well pump, and we're going to let the entire rest of the house run as normal, not even what we would cut back to an emergency situation. All right, so let's cut the main house power off. All right, now we're over on the generator power, and you're going to see it's starting to ramp up as the house is using power. And one thing to note, listen, system is completely quiet. That's one thing I noticed about the previous model. You've got to get to using a lot of power before the fans even kick on and ramp up. All right, so typically our house uses around 400 to 600 watts, but we have things ramping up right now, like big freezers are kicking back on. We have 2 refrigerators, and we have an ice maker on the porch. We've got security running right now, internet booting up, fans, lights. The house is really running just like normal, and we're about to kick on a lot of extra stuff to see what this thing will do. All right, so we have a very well insulated house, so we have a smaller AC, but it's still a split unit central AC. So let's see how much power our 2-ton AC unit uses. Let's kick that on, and then while it's running, we're gonna go turn some other stuff on. Should be kicking on any second. And while we're waiting on the AC to kick on, I should note, don't pay attention to some of the runtime specs, because as you can see, I'm showing 4 batteries right now. I still have to update the firmware on a 5th battery. All right, after a several minute wait period, because I killed the power to the house, ACs typically have to wait about 5 minutes. You can see it has kicked on, and it's pulling about 2,000 watts, really about 1,900 watts, because we were sitting at about 760 watts before it kicked on. Obviously, we are nowhere near max capacity on this, so it started a central AC, no problem. And here is that solar array I was telling you about, running the shop over there along with another one. But there are wires running underneath the ground and into the house to where we can convert this over to the house in the event of an emergency situation. But that shop over there is very power hungry. We have a lot of stuff running in it, so I'll let it run off grid with what you see. I came out here to also show you, yep, the AC is running. Now again, that's a 2-ton AC, But the literature already claims they've tested and can verify this can run up to a 5-ton AC, maybe even larger. All right, so now the big test, a dryer. Typically, I would never run this in an emergency situation, but this unit's so powerful, people may be installing these to run a home truly off-grid 24/7, not just for emergencies. And this is an extremely power-hungry device. So let's kick on a dryer. It's running. Now, as you can see, we're pulling well over 6,000 watts with that dryer kicked on, and just some simple stuff running in this house. So you add in another 1,900 watts for the AC, and well, guess what? You would be over what the original Delta Pro Ultra could run, but not a sweat. We're only at half capacity for this unit right here. Now let's go ahead and do an extremely high demand load right here. The two heaviest appliance draws that I have in my home, a dryer and a very powerful 1.5 horsepower 240 volt well pump. We'll kick it on and look at the spike and surge and see if we can handle it. This is going to be a tremendous amount. All right, so as you can see, we're already pulling well over 6,000 watts. It's also worth mentioning again, the unit completely silent. I'm running the water. The well pump should be kicking on before long. Now, this is very interesting, something I have never paid attention to before. Look at the power that just dropped. So as the dryer itself, I guess, is heating up, I guess the element itself heats up, it has actually cut back a couple thousand watts. I had no idea dryers did that. This is very good information to know. So it's that first initial few minutes startup on a dryer that it pulls a ton of power. So what you can see is going on right now is the heating element in the dryer must be cycling off and on now that we've met temperature. Excellent information to know. I had no idea. I thought a dryer consistently always pulled a similar amount of power. Well, that's going to make this test a little difficult. Look at there. Apparently our well just kicked on, or either the dryer itself ramped up. We'll see if it drops back off in a second. That'll let me know the well is kicked off. It only runs about 20 seconds. And it pulls well over 2,000 watts. So that would make sense. It looks like the well itself is running. We'll see if it cuts off here in the next few seconds. That'll tell the tale. And that's why the dryer is running too. There it is. Very interesting results. I'm kind of glad I did this test. I'm seeing things that I have never seen before. So interesting results. Dryers themselves, I guess this makes sense in theory, don't run at a consistent power pull. Once they heat up, they're probably temperature regulated. They cycle the heating element off and on. Makes sense now that I'm saying it. I've just never actually tested that. Because up until this point, we've always run systems, the biggest we ever had, which was the Delta Ultra, 7,200 watts of output. So it did not make sense in an emergency situation to run a 5,000 watt dryer using up our critical stored capacity to dry clothes. In a hurricane outage or multi-day outage, you can hang clothes up outside and you can just forego running the dryer. Now, if we were going to run the dryer for a system like this consistently, I would probably have 10,000 watts of solar panels outside, just like it can take. That way we can run high demand items like this. Or I would probably be more energy conscious and have me, say, a propane or natural gas dryer. And there's also some new super energy efficient heat pump models that are out as well. So if you're going to go off grid and go on solar, I recommend you look into items like that. Stay away from your big electric ranges. Your electric water heaters and your electric dryers, there's new awesome options out there to make a house even more efficient. So here we are out in my shop, and I want to go over some accessories that I got along with the new Delta Pro Ultra X. Now, the reason these items are out here is because we're actually not going to be using them on our current home. We've been telling y'all for a while, we have got an off-grid cabin build coming up on the channel. We're still working through all the environmental permits and regulations, but hopefully we'll have that buttoned up soon. And I have had this system in mind to run our new upcoming small home completely off grid. So while some of these accessories are not absolutely necessary to run your home, you've seen that I just ran mine as is. You can use it as a battery backup device, Put in a simple generator inlet box and power an entire home with the power output this thing has. Or you can add solar, you can charge the batteries via generator, or you can put an extremely smart home panel system in with this that has full communication, and you can also remain grid tied should you want to. You can build this system however you want. And something else that I don't have here to showcase today is a dedicated EV charger as well. With a system that powerful and able to have up to 10,000 watts of solar input, I can see a lot of y'all being interested in that, doing dual duty, running a home, running a cabin, charging a vehicle, vice versa, or potentially both. All right, so this is something really cool that Ecoflow has released out with the new Delta Pro Ultra X. This right here is called the generator rectifier. So if we take a look on the bottom, we have dual solar inputs, because again, we have dual solar inputs on the Delta Pro Ultra X itself. And check that out, you have a generator inlet. So this is a pretty unique box right here. This is going to be your output right here. You remember that I showed you the hookups on the Delta Pro Ultra X itself? Well, these plug directly into the unit, and here's the cool thing. We can put two separate solar arrays, don't forget, up to 5,000 watts per array or 10,000 watts total. Or you could hook up, say, one solar array, plug in a generator, and because this is a rectifier, if you're not familiar with what a rectifier is, it takes AC current from a generator and changes it over to DC current. This has a heat sink on the back side and all the components on the inside to convert that over. So wherever you flip this switch, you can either put it on generator or you can put it on PV2, PV1, vice versa. You can do dual charging input to your Delta Pro Ultra X. That is pretty awesome. So if you don't have enough solar panels, like, well, I don't right now, I could also hook up a generator into one side and do solar on one input, generator on the other to rapid charge those batteries. All right, and don't forget, when I say rapid charge, I mean rapid charge. You can do, I think, a little over 12,000 watts with a generator and solar, to up to 10,000 watts solar, or 12,000 watts with a generator, for example. Now, if you had a two battery system, you're talking about charging that in a little over 1 hour, and a two battery system is a big system. This is some of the most rapid charging I have ever seen on a system like this. So what a cool solution this is right here, to be able to charge via generator and solar at the same exact time and swap between the two. All right, so this is where Ecoflow really shines above a lot of the like other on-the-wall type systems, how smart this is with the smart home panel. So as you can see, I'm not going to take the cover off because we're going to be installing this in a few months from now, and I want to protect it, but it has a really sharp, modern look on the outside. This is the extra door that snaps closed on the 32 breaker panel system itself right here. Let me remove this. Now this removable cover, this is where you do your knockouts for your breakers. So depending on up to 32 breakers, you can install 120 or 240 volts. You knock those out and you install simple standard breakers. So let's remove this and I'll show you the guts on the inside, because this thing is sweet. All right, so if we take a look on the inside, you can see our main grid lugs right there labeled grid. So think about this. You have your main panel in your home, you install this right beside or maybe out in the garage, and you can run grid power from that main panel to feed this. Then ultimately, you'll put your critical circuits in here. You may have to hire an electrician in for this part, but it's totally worth it. So you'll pull the circuits out of, say, your main panels right here beside it. You'll run the wires over to here. You can legally extend wires. Then you put whatever critical circuits you want running off of solar and or battery power. Wire those in. You can see they're rated for up to 80 amps here, all the way down to 125 amps. So some serious capacity in this. Should be able to easily run just about anything you want. You'll snap your breakers in. Now ultimately, this is running off the Delta Pro Ultra X and or the grid. It's all smart. You can go in your app and set up what you want this thing to do. For example, if there's not enough solar or battery power, this can swap right back to grid whether you were there or not, and you're running on grid just like you currently are. However, if you want to take advantage of solar power savings or you're in an emergency outage, this unit right here was smart enough to know to, well, communicate with the Delta Pro Ultra X and run off of stored battery power or incoming solar power. Or, for example, if you're using this, generator power. All right, so let's take a look at this box right here. We can mount this on the wall somewhere, or it looks like it can probably go on the bottom side of this as well. You're going to see that you have 3 ports right here. All 3 are exactly the same. This is where I was telling you earlier that you can hook up a single Delta Pro Ultra X unit right here for up to 12,000 watts of input to your panel system. Or you can add 2 more. That would be 24,000 watts up to 36,000 watts. And it depends on how you stack your batteries for your ultimate capacity here. It looks like one of these ports is also rated for generator input here as well. So you can build this system out however you want. Some components you can use, some you don't have to use. It's up to you. It's truly modular. You can have your units connected via Wi-Fi that you can control whether you're home or not. You can set your system up to run off a grid or maybe go to solar during high grid usage or power rate times. You can set your system up to charge via grid during low energy usage times. You can set up days of the week, days of the month. The sky is the limit how you want to set that up. Or ultimately, if you're there or not, say you got this had a second home like we're gonna have, a little vacation home, and you're concerned about losing food or power outages, or maybe you have guests there, well, you can control all this, or you can already have it set up to be smart, communicate with itself, swap to grid when needed, go to solar when needed, go to battery power when needed. What awesome technology this is right here. I can't wait to install this in a few months to truly show you how this works. Now today was just a quick introduction. Next time we have a hurricane or a major outage, you're gonna see us running the home with that. And again, I wanna remind you, I've already did a several day solar only test running the system that I just replaced inside that's very comparable, although nowhere near as powerful as this system. So if you want to see some real world actual usage with solar input coming into the house, with us running central ACs, cooking, coffee makers, TVs, everything else you could think of, I'm going to have that video pop up here at the end so you could see that test. And I'll also put it down in the description. Just know that this new Delta Pro Ultra X unit is even more powerful than what you're going to see in that video. So I could supply even more solar power to it, and I can output more, literally running my house as if it was still connected to the grid. I'm going to put some links down in the description if you want to go check out current pricing. I have no idea what it is. I'm recording this video before the actual launch, but there will be discount codes, links, so make sure you use those to save yourself some money. I really do enjoy their products. They seem to be the leaders in the game, and I appreciate them sending me this stuff out to test and make the content that y'all are so much interested in. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.